Hey guys, it's David here, and it's currently day 200, 303. I hope you guys had a wonderful day, and they're doing better than yesterday. But the time is currently 5:20. Now, because yesterday I didn't do anything, today when I woke up, I felt a little bit tired. I felt a little bit, I guess, somewhat disappointed for not doing anything. And I guess with this feeling, I can turn it into somewhat of a motivation, as you guys could say, and to do something with my life today. Now, I think the main issue for me to really stay focused is to really cultivate more positive meaning to what I do. Instead of just allowing my emotions to win over, I should really consolidate why I do what I do. That what I'm doing right now is going to solve not only the problem of the people, but the problems of myself. Because by doing so, I am going to give myself more drive and more reasons to do what I have to do every single day. But most importantly, I know at the end of the day, if I just do it, it will get easier. And by easier, I don't mean that the task will get easier, but the voices in our mind will quiet down. Because if we don't do it, if we avoid, we are only going to build up more of this inner dialogue of us chatting to ourselves, saying that we are inadequate, saying that we are not good enough, and that we will always be avoiding our goals and pursuits in life. But the thing is, if you face your fears, if you face the doubts, then eventually those diminish, which is what I will do today, guys, which is what I will do when I come back from my gym session, is that I'll use today to re-establish my routines and by following them once again so that I could really take hold back on my life. Because I know at the end of the day, I didn't do anything yesterday is simply because I choose to let my mind win. But I am going to win. I am going to win over my mind. So that being said, I'll see you guys in a bit. So guys, the time is currently 11:27 and I managed to complete my first work block. Now, going back into work today was a bit difficult. I was a bit reluctant, but when I got into the work state, when I got into the flow, it was very, very effortless, very, very easy, and I just absolutely enjoyed it. And that is a sustainable dopamine that is a sustainable pleasure, right? Not something that you get in the moment and you feel shit afterwards like you would get from distractions. But if you are working towards something, if you are building something, that is going to sustain throughout your entire life. That being said though, today I do want to talk about that why we should not fall for the trap of moderation. Why am I talking about this? Because this is so relevant as yesterday I have fell for this trap of moderation. Now, moderation, guys, is something people say you can just do in moderation, that if you want to go out and party and drink, just do it in moderation, right? But the thing is, sometimes for some people, they lack the self control, and it is better for them to just not do it at all rather than do it in moderation. It is as if someone who's trying to lose weight, like you're telling him to have some snacks in moderation, like, yeah, you'll lose weight, of course, if you just control yourself. But why would you give yourself this more task, right, to have more willpower to control your urges if you just eliminate the urge right away, right? If you don't have the snacks, then you wouldn't be feeding for the snacks, right? If you had the snacks, one day, who knows, you might just have no will left and you just give in and then put on a shit ton of weight. Same goes with everything. If you find yourself difficult to control from urges, if you are someone who already has so much stuff going on in his life that requires so much mental energy, so there's no point in doing it in moderation if you know that if you do it in moderation, you will eventually just fall back into your old behaviors and routines. It is a much smarter approach, in my opinion, for those people who cannot have the will to control their urges and actions to just ignore the urge in general. Don't say to yourself that I'm going to go out once a week and just
go out and party because I know that I'll stay consistent or focused for the next 6 days. But if you are the type of person who goes out and gets completely wasted, completely drunk, blackout, and you do that consecutively simply because you feel like you already ruined your life or your day, then if you are that type of person who cannot pull himself back up and say, I'm only going to do this for a little bit and then I'll come back to being focused, then I strongly suggest you to not go out in general, right? Find some other passion, find some other hobby so that you're not always linking yourself back to these old routines that once associated with how you view yourself as. If you're trying to improve on yourself, if you're trying to lose weight, then you wouldn't reward yourself by going to Macca's or KFC to have a whole family meal because you have done great. Because now you are someone different. Now you hold different values and principles. And so does your routine and your reward system have to change along with it. And if you don't figure out a new set of rewards, a new set of routines and daily disciplines, then you will find yourself doing things great for a few days and then you do things that you repent later because you have not really restructured how you want to live your life as the person you see yourself to become. And this is where the trap of moderation comes in. Is the idea that we can become great while still holding on to old behaviors and living patterns when that's simply not the case. You have to understand if you want to become someone different, then you have to let your past goals. You have to let your past behaviors, actions, and belief go. Let that flow under the bridge and find a new set of values and beliefs because you cannot constantly take one step forward and take a few steps back every single week because this will compound and eventually you'll realize that hold on, I'm putting in so much effort but I'm not really getting the results I want, or I am not really seeing the progress I want. And the reason why you may not be seeing the progress isn't because you're not trying hard enough, isn't because you're not doing the right things, but because you're still doing the wrong things, because you're still doing the things you're not supposed to be doing anymore. And this is because we cling on to our old behaviors because they still gives us pleasure. They still give us a sense of satisfaction because that is how we used to know how to reward ourselves in life. So if you are trying to change, whether it's losing weight, getting your finance up, focusing on yourself, then you shouldn't be doing things that is going to bring you down. You shouldn't be doing things that that person wouldn't otherwise do. If you're trying to lose weight, then don't reward yourself by going out to a nice restaurant, by going out to eat junk food and stuff, by going out to eat snacks and buying chips and lollies. You shouldn't be doing that if you're trying to lose weight. Same goes with all the other examples. If you're trying to build a business, then you shouldn't be at home playing video games. If you're trying to build a business, then you shouldn't be unconfident about yourself and go out and be more confident. Build that courage, right? If you want to be something different, then by definition, you have to stop doing the things you're doing right now. Because if you don't, then you are going to fall into this trap as if you are feeling you're not growing, but in reality, you are growing, but rather you are just bringing yourself back every time you have made some marginal progress. And in the long term, either you have two options. Either you make some progress, but it is not significant, it is very slow and tedious progress. Or you let go of your old behaviors, you let go of your old routines, and you make tremendous progress. And the former person choose to not let go of his old behaviors, choose to not let go of his old patterns of living. And by doing so, he is slowing himself down in the race. Bear in mind, he is not losing the race. Bear in mind, he is still in the race, but he is just walking the race compared to someone who's running, who's focused, who's dedicated. Now, I understand that perhaps losing our old behaviors and patterns of living and reward system is difficult because how else do we know to reward ourselves, right? How else would you know to wind down if all you have been doing to support your relaxation time is to watch TV, get drunk, or smoke weed, whatever you do to relax? How else would you know to do that if you don't do it anymore? And this is the trap that we fall into because we don't know what to do. We don't know better. So simply to stop doing the things you were doing before is to find new passions, find new hobbies, and find new people to perhaps animate that passion and create those ideas for you so that you can seek some other hobbies and life actions in life that is going to make you feel good and most importantly support the person that you want to become, because only by doing so can you sustain in this race for the long term. Only by doing so can you be happy and content with your progress. Because bear in mind, we are still human, and by nature we are driven by rewards. So if you don't reward yourself to some degree, then you will have times where you have these urges or these temptations to seek out the old living lifestyle. And by doing so, you will self-sabotage and you will slow yourself down in the race. So don't do that, and don't fall for the trap of moderation. Rather, embrace everything you do to the fullest of its potential. That means finding something different and enjoy, right? Ravish that habit. But don't go for the moderation routes thinking that I have worked for 5 days so I can have a 2-day bender at a club dancing around like an absolutely weirdo, because you don't want to be that person. And most importantly, you have those 2 days to really elevate your lifestyle if you just set out a new lifestyle and follow that towards the end. That being said, I'm gonna go to my work now, 1 till 6, and when I come back, I do want to do a little bit more time on my work, practice my recalls, practice my memory, and enhance what I already have enhanced. So, that being said, I'll speak to you guys soon.
So, guys, the time is currently 6:05, and work was amazing. Although it was a little bit long, I managed to finish it, come back, and I get to do what I like. But this is something I realized today, guys, that going to work, although it's nice, don't get me wrong, going to work is nice, seeing people and talking to new people is definitely nice. But what I come to realize now is that what I am doing, like working towards my purpose, working on how to code, learning how to code, this is my reward. Like this itself is my reward. And that even though working for somebody is somewhat enjoyable at the moment, there's still times where I don't want to go, right? There's still times where I could be doing something better. So I realized that today that going to work may not be a priority. Well, it never really was a priority, but what I'm trying to say is that finding a reward was something that I have always had trouble with. But now I understand the reward is in what I do. The reward is basically what I do every single day that is going to make me better than yesterday. That is the reward. The reward is the freedom of choice. The reward is the freedom to do something you want to do. That is the reward, right? If you value freedom, if you value to be free, then having the choice of freedom, of willingly choosing whatever you want, that should be a reward. And although I knew that doing what I'm supposed to be doing should become a passion for me to enjoy it, but I never really saw it as a reward. Like I didn't ever view it as doing the work or learning how to code as a reward to reward myself for doing it. But here I come to realize that that itself is a reward. That itself should be enough to make me content with life. And although at the moment it may not feel like that, but I know eventually if I keep on thinking like this, that will become the reward. That will become the thing I want to be doing every single day because I know that gives me fulfillment. That gives me purpose. Now, although that does still give me purpose at the moment, there is still this reward I'm trying to search that I feel like even though I am working towards my purpose and goals, I should still somewhat reward myself with something. Now, I never understood what I should reward myself with, but now I do. That is to do more work. That is to do more and improve more. That should be my reward. And today's revelation is that. And I'm just happy that I really found or somewhat stumbled across this. And for the upcoming few weeks and whatever, I'm going to plan to really consolidate and hold on to this mentality that what I do should be a reward of itself, and that I shouldn't go seek for another reward when I have the freedom of choice, that I have the freedom to do what I want, to wake up one day and say, you know what, David, you are going to control your mind and you are going to get better at life, that you are going to improve at life. And that is honestly the best thing one person can have. Isn't to have riches, isn't to have all the money and influence. Like, yeah, that would be nice, but to have the freedom to do that for yourself, that is the best feeling. And that is something I do believe all of us have. But until you start to seize your opportunities and realize that you are the sole commander of your own life, and that no matter what happens in life, you are the one who chooses or choose not to do it. Once you start to realize that, you will never feel like you have control. You will never feel like you have freedom. But really, guys, the world is ours. The world is ours if we just start taking responsibilities and own up to the shit we do, right? Whether it is self-sabotaging, making mistakes, or doing the right thing, we have to take control and own up to it. Because until we start doing that, we are going to play the victim game and blame others for our failures and perhaps overly praise ourselves for the success and never be humble to really admit to ourselves that we can do better. So understand this, that you have the freedom, and having the freedom itself should be the reward of itself. You should not go seek for some other pleasure, but the pleasure should be within you, and that doing what you do every single day, that is in reward. That being said, I hope you guys had learned something from this. But if not, like always, I'll be here for you guys tomorrow. But until then, good night.